It's not just that she's a physician. She seems to be such an extraordinary physician. She's almost saint-like in a lot of ways, I think. Maybe that's just me having such a high opinion of her. But my point was about that you don't want to, that while inspiring examples are important, at the same time you want to watch for the fact that if the example sets too high a standard, people will react the opposite to it. They'll say, oh, well, I can't meet that standard, so why am I going to try? But your point was, well, no, see what one person can do. So so it's just a matter of finding the right prompts, I think.
Where is that quote? There's actually something in here that touches on that, if I can find it. Where is it? Oh, it's in here. Come on. Good thing I'm not on a talk show, otherwise I'd have already been interrupted by somebody. Dang it. I wish I had photographic memory. Then I'd just be able to just
Wouldn't that be
these things
nice?
off. Yeah. Where? Yeah. Okay. This character says, "What's the point in fighting it?" And then this other character responds, "So because you can't fix everything, you're going to do nothing?"
Exactly.
In that tone.
Absurd reasoning.
Well, the idea is that raising the bar high should not discourage anyone.
It shouldn't, but it will discourage some. So I mean, I think it's just that's the reality of human beings.
I think it will discourage folks that are looking for an excuse anyway. If the video games are just that addicting, then they'll say some of anything. They'll say Jesus told them to go back to playing Grand Theft Auto, and it's we're competing against trivia. We're competing against bread and circuses as activists, and it's a goddamn shame. But anyway, back to the theology.
Well, and theologically, I think it's hope. And I think, personally, I think that's the most, if I would use a theological word, I would say demonic characteristic of Obama's presidential campaign, is that hope is the most important thing that human beings can have. And that for him to use that language and to offer, or at least pretend that he's offering hope for substantive change to hundreds of millions of people, when he had no intention of making any kind of substantive change whatsoever. There's something about that just, demonic seems the right word for it, because it ends up stealing hope. And I think that's a lot of the problem that we see today, is so many people had put a lot of their hope into Obama, that they really thought that this was a moment that was going to be a significant change in the world. And then they invest all that energy, he goes on and just does the same old thing, and so and then people are disappointed. And my suspicion is that is not an accident, that there are people in the Democratic Party who strategize about that very intentionally, and they understand that what they're doing is to destroy people's hope, and that's their way of winning elections. Because if people had real hope, they'd be fighting for substantive change. And I think that's the hard thing, is how do you convince people to have hope that they can go up against these monumental forces?
You get that monumental advertising budget. Because the only reason why, there's only one reason and one reason only why he is synonymous with the word hope, is because you saw the word hope plastered on all those posters all over the place.
Right.
Now, as soon as the Green Party gets a big enough budget, then we'll see, but...
Right, we don't have the budget, so we got to do it a different way.
The hard way.
The hard way.
You know.
Exactly. And I mean, those are the things you're trying to do, talking to people about getting off their butts and actually trying. Because in trying, I think people find hope too. That's another thing, is that it's easy enough to lose hope and give up and retreat into sort of a world of self-entertainment. But once you get out into the world again, back on the streets doing things, that's a place people find hope. Which I learned, I think, from you, marching next to you in a protest. Somehow you gave me hope.
Cool.
No, and I think it's it's the lighthearted spirit that you bring to those kinds of things.
Lighthearted.
Well, you were wearing the Superman costume.
But that's not lighthearted, though.
Well, you mean it in a serious way, but it has a way of lightening the mood, because you're getting people to think. You're asking them to think about something. It's like, think about it a little bit differently. The world a little differently than they're used to, because they're not used to walking down the street with somebody in a Superman costume.
Wait a minute. I remember now. You